Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Jawa from the 40th anniversary collection of Star Wars 6-inch Black Series figures. This guy is pretty cool, but before we take a closer look at him, let's go ahead and take a look at his packaging. Here it is. It's pretty standard for the 40th anniversary collection. It's got a nice picture of the Jawa from the movie here on the front, and then of course this is where the blister would have been. On the back here, it's also got all of the other figures released in this wave. So like I said before, pretty standard packaging, so let's go ahead and get back to the figure itself here. So the Jawa stands at 4 inches tall, maybe a little bit over 4 inches tall at the top of his hood here. So he feels right in scale with all of your other Black Series figures. This definitely feels like a taller Jawa, so maybe in the future they'll release a shorter one. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as accessories go, he does come with two. The first one here is this rifle, which as you can see is attached to the actual figure itself. And we'll talk about some problems I have with that here in a second. But as far as the accessory itself goes, really nice detail there. We've got the wood here, or brown wood color here, and the black for the rest of the details, which look really nice. So I do like the way this accessory looks. But like I said, there's a problem with it being attached, directly to the figure. There's no way to detach it that I've seen without just cutting it off, which isn't the biggest deal because there is a holster here. But I also haven't been able to get this gun into the holster this way or this way because this end piece here is so large it doesn't want to fit into here, and I could probably get it in if I force it, but I don't want to break the gun because it's very, as you can see, it's very soft, and I also want to eventually maybe get it out of there again. So I'm worried that if I get it in there, I'll rip the gun apart when I pull it out because it doesn't feel the sturdiest. So I don't really like this about the figure. As far as this other accessory goes, it's pretty nice. It's got this rifle here. It's black with a silver dry brush. It looks like it could be the opposite way around. It's hard to tell. But really nice accessory. A ton of detail on there. And it does fit in his hands really well, so that's nice. As far as the figure's articulation goes, it's decent. But again, there are some problems. And we'll talk about them here in a second. So in the head, he's got what I'm assuming is a ball peg on top of a hinge. It gets, reasonable range of motion. I'm not expecting a ton, obviously, because he's got a hood. So it definitely, can be posed and do enough. I don't think that it needs to have a ton of articulation, obviously, because it is the hood. He's got ball hinge shoulders that do swivel 360, nice range of motion on those. And then he's got hinged elbows with a swivel. Now, these are a problem. They do come to 90 degrees, which is normally good enough for a figure like this. But I can't actually get him to hold either of his guns, which are both rifles, with both hands. So you can't do, this famous pose here that he's doing on the card. So I wish they had sculpted it in a way that there was a little bit more articulation in the elbows. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is something that, I wish they did, a little bit better. He also has hinged wrists here with a swivel. Nice range of motion on those, no complaints really. And the hinges run both horizontally on both sides. He does have a ball peg here in the torso, which gives them a nice range of motion forward and back, and then of course it works as a swivel, and it is very well hidden because they cut it along with the bandolier, so that's really nice. He does have T-jointed hips with a thigh swivel. I think it's hard to see because it's up in there. Single jointed knees, hinged ankles with the ankle rocker, but really, realistically, you're not going to use any of it. They didn't slit the little cloak all the way up the sides, so you're really not ever going to get to use any of that articulation. And honestly, I wish since they were going to do that, if they were going to do that anyway, not articulate the legs, just do a swivel in the hip and then some ankle articulation, and then make the arms work a little bit better, or fix all of those problems. They're not a huge deal, obviously, because this character is not the most dynamic, but you know, it's just little things like that that kind of add up and take away from the figure overall. One thing I will say that does look nice is the little kind of light gray airbrushing that they did around the bottom of his cloak, which looks like sand that's been kicked up on there. So there are some really nice details on this figure, a ton of nice paintwork, but there are some pretty major problems too that prevent it from being great. Do I recommend this figure? You know, it's decent. It serves its purpose of kind of standing there in your collection. I don't think anyone's gonna have this guy jumping around all over the place. So I do recommend this figure, but you know, if you're not gonna buy every single one, it's maybe one to pass on because it's not super great. But if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I guess I'll see you later.